All right, good afternoon. My name is Albert Almeida. I'm Customer Success Manager at Veeva, and I would like to welcome you to the third Veeva new webinar. Next slide, please. This is a Veeva initiative that has the objective of sharing some of the innovations we are enabling at Veeva. Today, we are going to show you MyInsights and how you can use it to deliver great visualizations to your field users. Next slide, please. Before we start, let me explain you how we're going to drive the webinar. As we have a lot of people attending today, so we're going to mute your microphones during the session. So please use your Q&A function to ask questions, and we're more than happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. All right, so today we are opening the session with Chris Wade, so Director of Multi-Channel Strategy at Veeva, who will describe what MyInsights is. After Chris, I'll be giving you an overview of what's the business issue we are solving with the use of this solution. Right after, we're going to have Donald McConnell, solution consultant at Veeva, who is going to give you a demo focusing on the features available today. And finally, after the demo, Sally Harris, a global digital manager at Veeva, will show you how to get started with MyInsights. Okay, so thanks a lot for attending, and let's kick it off. So Chris, over to you.
Thank you very much, Albert. Good afternoon, everyone. Donald, if you'd move to the next slide, please. So, hi. It's great that so many of you have been able to join the webinar this afternoon, and hopefully over the next sort of 50 or so minutes, we'll be able to give you, a great overview of what MyInsights is about and some of the early ideas around how both we see it being used from a Veeva perspective, but also some customer perspectives on how this great new innovation is being brought to life. So MyInsights really marks an important step in the evolution of field CRM. We know that for a long time, there's a lot of value in the information that's been recorded, but often it's quite challenging to sort of bring that information out and make it usable out in the field. So it's often being drawn out and used from an analytics or business intelligence perspective, but the focus hasn't been on how do I deliver value to my field teams. So next slide, please, Donald. So, we know that the processes around customer engagement, continue to evolve. On the one hand, we have the complexity around the customer space, whether that's at the individual level, whether it's as an account, whether we're talking at a market level, or supporting data around it. So it's a very complex picture. On the other hand, that complexity, that data around the customer is essential to understanding what it is that is going to influence a customer, what their needs are, and how, as an industry, life sciences can sort of best support, the provision of, better health to patients. So being able to have a simple way of being able to view what's going on around those key areas in the customer data, which are going to most influence and most impact decision making, is a critical requirement to CRM users. They have an expectation that it should be possible to create simple visualizations which are useful and give an ability to provide a sort of actionable insight around the data that is within the CRM environment. Next slide, please. But one of the challenges has always been that this has been seen, this challenge around providing information back to the field has often been seen as a business information or business intelligence responsibility, and often it's based around sets of KPIs, effectively performance metrics. Now, what's important to remember is KPIs are really important. They're critical for helping management teams make better decisions. How is one part of the organization performing versus another? Are we getting the most out of the channels that we're investing in? But those measures often aren't all that helpful to the individuals, whether we're talking about a rep, a key account manager, pharmacy sales, MSL, all of those kind of sort of, customer level roles, where what's important to them is being able to make better decisions about what they're going to be doing today, in the next call, this week, and so on. So we have this picture where there are, the sort of relationship between what the role of the CRM platform is and the role of business intelligence. And it's, where we've been tended to be is focused at that sort of sales and brand management level and corporate management, where CRM is either somewhere where you generate reporting, or it's something which has been used as a data source for, say, a data mart or data warehouse, something like that. But there hasn't been the focus on how do I bring together the most relevant, the most meaningful operational data about a customer, about a particular commercial situation, in order to help me out in the field do a better job of planning my calls, of orchestrating activities across my channels and the like. It's all about what do I need to know now. So next slide, please. So what Veeva CRM MyInsights is doing is really covering 3 areas. It's actionable. So we are focusing on you're in the CRM, we're focusing on the data that is in the CRM system. If we're thinking about somebody who's out in the field, they're probably using an iPad, something similar to that. They have a local database, and they don't have ready access to the sort of heavy business intelligence tool sets that maybe are more commonly used at head office. They want to be able to very quickly, as part of a pre-call piece, as part of their start of day or start of week activities, look at what's going on, sort of pick out those those key areas of change, key areas of activity, which if they can manage that information better, it will make a real difference to the quality of their calls and the quality of their planning. So that flexibility is equally important. It's one thing to have pages and pages of data. If we think about how the customer profile or account profile can be set up, it can hold a lot of information. So what's really key, and we know this from what we do with what you do with your end customers in as clinicians, you put a lot of emphasis and a lot of effort into building content, into providing a really clear way of viewing the information that you have about your products, the medicines and the like that you promote, and providing that in a really consumable way to your customers. So MyInsights is doing the same thing, but focusing on content which is going to deliver value to your internal teams. So how do I view the information around a particular topic? And Donna will show a number of different examples of how MyInsights allows you to effectively define a specific question and bring together the data around that. And from a real-time point of view, we are looking at the data that is in the database here and now. So if a call's just happened, you've just synced at the start of day, you're picking up everything that is up to date on your customer. It's not something that's running weekly. It's not something that runs every 3 months, and you're looking at a view of the data which might be quite significantly in the past. This is about the activity that's going on, today, yesterday around your customer. Next slide, please. And what MyInsights is from a product perspective is effectively 2 things. So many of you will be familiar with Veeva V-Insights. So it's an offering which we've had available for a number of years. And the focus there was providing a set of standard pre-built reports, a fixed data model really focused around the ability to load and distribute sales-related information through the CRM architecture that kept it outside the force.com model, provided this additional data storage you needed to house reporting data, and put that out either to the field or through an online view. So MyInsights incorporates that. So from a commercial point of view, if you have a V-Insights license, then you have access to MyInsights at no additional cost. Now, MyInsights and what we're going to focus on today, both in the demonstration and in the other discussions, is looking at this HTML and JavaScript framework. So it's flexible. It's about being able to create these tailored views of the information that you have, in your local database. And critically, any of these pages can access the entire CRM database in terms of what's in that local territory system. So if I'm looking at an account page, I'm not limited to just that data which is in the account profile. I can look at any information which I have in my local database which is relevant to that question. So with that, I'm going to hand back to Albert, and we'll move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So before I hand over to Donald for the MyInsights demos, I would like to use some time to talk about the business problem we're trying to solve, and so where MyInsights fits in the analytics strategy. So next slide, please. Let's start first with the challenges when providing insights to field users, right? So first of all, insights are delayed, right? It takes time to get the data, consolidate it, and get it combined to produce reports and visualizations that are delivered to the field users. So it can take 1 week, 1 month, but there is always a delay in between the data is captured and the insights are produced. Also, the insights are typically delivered in other tools. So this means that field users use Veeva CRM to plan and track their activities, and then other tools to get business insights, right? So in this scenario, users are required to have different login, change the focus to another tool, and they have to rely that the data is consistent, right, among all those tools. From the IT perspective, so this means that a different tool needs to be maintained and administered as well. At the end, the insights are disconnected from the daily activities. So they are not integrated in the business processes where they are more effective. So insights are not happening in the place where the process is being executed. And finally, these are not a flexible solution. So you are typically tied to specific formats, layouts, and you don't have the full flexibility to produce insights in the way the users need. Next slide, please, Arnold. So these are basically, so the problems we are trying to solve with MyInsights by providing, so a fully flexible solution embedded into Veeva CRM, meaning in the place where it's needed. So also with the benefit of using real-time data. So once the data is produced, so it becomes available in MyInsights and it can be visualized and the field users can take immediate action. So in essence, with MyInsights, you are providing better decision-making solution for your field users. We want to be very clear that so the main objective is to provide insights to field users. Next slide, please, Donald. Yeah, and this is also very important to take into account. So MyInsights is really filling a gap, right? So not covered by any other solution, right? So, and also very important. So MyInsights is not going to replace any of the tools you should have available in your organization. So it's not going to replace your business intelligence solution, where you are managing corporate KPIs, typically combined with other sources such as market sales or internal sales. It's not replacing your back office reporting, which is more tactical in nature and can come in, for instance, in the form of reports and dashboards in the online platform. It's neither replacing your marketing analytics solution, where you can analyze the reach and efficacy of your websites and mobile applications. So MyInsights is not overlapping with the other solutions that you should have, right, that you have considered in your strategy. Okay, so with that being said, so I just want to hand it over to Donald for the demo. So Donald, over to you.
Access points we have at the moment for MyInsights. So the first one is that of the territory summary view, and that's accessible to the sales rep, and they can use these sort of insights. They have a snapshot overview on how they're performing in relation to their territories. The next one is that of the interaction summary, available on the account profile page. And this is ideally used before a call, part of the pre-call preparation, to see what were the previous interactions with that particular account. We also have an access point at the order management module of Veeva CRM. This enables the sales rep to increase the number of products being sold to the pharmacy and derive insights from previous interactions. If, for example, you use key account management, we have the ability to visualize those key account plans in terms of the plan tactics and the account tactics, and also how far you have progressed in relation to those particular plans. What's more, we also have the key opinion leader profile. And this is an example of visualizing data within the Veeva CRM system and gives your MSLs a key account, a key opinion leader overview. So from here, I'm now going to navigate to the iPad screen, and we can see from the homepage of the application that we have access to the MyInsight reports. So take, for example, I'm sitting down, I'm having my coffee in the morning, I'm planning out my week, and what I'd like to do is take a view or a look at the territory insights. So from the territory insights, I can see the reach and frequency on my accounts. We can see at the moment I'm 31% complete. In terms of the reach, I've got 31%. We have quite an average frequency in terms of the interactions with the accounts. What's more, I can apply filters to those accounts. I can change the date if I so wish. So if I only wanted to see the previous 3-month interactions, I can do that. I can, for example, drill down into the weekly view. And what's more, I can also see the frequency of the interactions. So in relation to 68% of my accounts, I haven't interacted with them to date. So let's drill into that further. So drilling into that information, I see all the accounts that I haven't interacted with. So in relation to Dominic Anderson, I haven't really, interacted with him. So what I'm now going to do is, of course, schedule a call with that individual. From here, I'm now going to navigate to the account profile. So today I'm visiting Dr. James Wilson, for example. I'm doing my pre-call preparation much as before. I can, of course, access the timeline view, etc. But accessible on the top of the screen are the custom reports section. So accessing the custom reports, I can now see all the interactions that we've had with this individual. We can see the number of calls with samples. We can see, for example, calls with CLM content. So in terms of 51% of all calls we've made against this account are using CLM messaging or e-detailing. And we also have a representation of sample drops for this healthcare professional. Key or recent key messages that have been used to influence the individual. And what's more, I can also have a view on the approved email activity, emails that have been sent, how many have been opened, and also the progress in terms of click-through and the email fragments themselves. The next scenario is that of a visit to a pharmacy. So for example, if I'm now to visit Brightbridge Pharmacy, I'm in the pharmacy now, I'm in front of the pharmacist, and I'm now going to capture an order with that pharmacy. So I select new order, I navigate to the order line section, and I mentioned to the pharmacist, we have a best seller special on at the moment. So in relation to Colacap, we have a promotion. I add the product to the cart. I simply am adding the quantities at this moment. And from here, we can see that I have an upsell suggestion. So it says to me, if you buy 150 units, you will receive a 25% discount. But in order to get a view of exactly how many bestsellers I put into the cart, I navigate to the MyInsight reports. So this is an example here of the bestsellers. We can see a total of 30. So according to this upsell suggestion, I now have to place additional products in the cart in order to reveal that particular discount. So I make sure that the quantities are over 150, and we now have a group discount now of 25%. So that's really an example of using MyInsight reports to sell more product to the pharmacy. Navigating now to the medical application, we can, from the home page of the application, see the stakeholder plans. And these are accessible to key account managers, but also to MSLs. So if I drill into the stakeholder plans, I navigate down the screen and I'm reviewing all the plans that I have. So we have St. Charles Hospital Plan 2017 at the moment is only 16% complete. So I drill into that report or into that plan, and we're given the MyInsight reports. So I get a quick overview of exactly how I'm performing in relation to my plan tactics. We can see that there's 5 incomplete, and this is motivating to me now to execute on more of those plan tactics. We can also see, for example, that there's 5 complete call objectives and 9 incomplete call objectives. So again, this is motivating me to perform better and gives me a very, very brief overview on how I'm performing. I can also drill into any of this information to get further details on what's behind this particular report. But take, for example, if I wanted to view more in terms of the stakeholders, I can drill into the stakeholders and get a view of exactly everyone that we need to interact with in relation to this account plan. Finally, what I'd like to show you is that of a visit to one of our individuals, again, Dr. James Wilson. And you'll notice when I navigate to the profile, we have a very different overview than what was shown for the sales representative. This is what we call the key opinion leader MyInsight report. We can see the visualization of data that has been uploaded into the Veeva CRM application. We can see his speciality, his expertise, for example, his career history. And take, for example, if I now drill into the career history, I can open that up and see a timeline view of exactly what he has achieved in his career, who he's worked for, and who he's collaborated for. And that's really insightful to me because we can see now that he's a board member of the Royal College of Physicians. And I was looking to interact with someone on this particular board, and that's really, really useful insights that I can now extract from this report. What's more, I can now show you, for example, interactions. So how we've interacted with him to date. Drilling into this report, I can see a graphical overview of all the emails that we've sent to the individual, all the interactions that have been had face-to-face, medical inquiries that he's logged with us, and also medical insights. What's more, I can go down the page and see all the interactions again in more detail. So I can either drill into the information or I can simply get a snapshot overview in a graphical representation. So that's the final insight or MyInsight report that I'm showing you today. But you can see that these reports are available to me when and where I need them. They're fast. I can quickly consume the information in terms of graphical forms, or I can dive into the information further if I want to get some more details. I'm also more inclined to log interactions in the CRM system, because the more interactions that I log in the system, the more reporting capabilities and the more information and insights I can extract from that information. So it's really, really useful. And also, all of the points that I've shown you are completely flexible. So you can either take the reports as we showed you, they're Veeva standard reports, you can customize them to your needs, or you can develop your own reports. And Sally will mention that to you in greater detail in just a few moments. So.
Thank you very much, Donald. Afternoon, everyone. I'm Sally Harris, and I'm a Global Digital Manager at Veeva. I work directly with our partners who are creating content mostly for Veeva multi-channel products, but now also for MyInsights. So how do you get started with MyInsights? Next slide, please. Once you're licensed, you need to have your usual resource do some configuration in your Veeva CRM org. You'll need to do this even if you've had VInsights in the past, because there are a few additional things that you will need to switch on. It's worth noting at this point that this is an org-wide change, so any reports you upload will be available to all of your users. If you want to limit who can see what, then it's a good idea to take a look at creating some sharing rules at this point. To create or update MyInsights reports, you're going to need someone with a standard web development skill set, so the ability to use things like HTML5, CSS, but most importantly, JavaScript and JavaScript libraries. This is likely to be a back-end or full-stack developer, as they're going to need to be able to query the CRM database, so it's going to be that skill set. The report itself is created in much the same way as a web application, or indeed as CLM presentation content for Veeva. You'll package the HTML into a zip file, and you'll need to include the Veeva MyInsights library, the Q library, and then any other assets you've used. So things like images, style sheets, things like that. Then once you have your zip file, it's a very simple upload into the Veeva CRM online, and then you're ready to access it on your iPad. Next slide, please. There is a new JavaScript library that you will need to download in order to work with MyInsights reports. The old Veeva library will work for certain elements, but to really get the most out of MyInsights, you're going to need the new one. You can get the new library and any information on how to use it from the new developer website that has been set up for MyInsights by product. And that's available from the top menu on your CRM Help Online website. The site is going to grow with the product, so it should contain all of the methods you'll need in order to run your queries for your report, and that will be updated regularly. Next slide, please. So what are your considerations when you're going to be creating your report? They can be any size, and they can contain as little or as much data as you like, really. The window is scrollable in both directions because it's not like a CLM presentation. But rather than creating a monster report, you also have the ability to insert your own navigation or put in some kind of dynamic content mechanics. You can include any content. There are standard items that are easily accessible from the Veeva CRM, but other objects can also be accessed, and also external data sources. So if you are okay with using custom fields, you will be able to pull in any kind of data that you want. You can create any design you like. You can make it match Veeva, or you can have it match your corporate branding. And you can manipulate the data in the JavaScript. So you'll be able to create any charts you want or any infographics that you might like. And because the technology is built on standard web languages, so HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can use any of your favorite visualization libraries. I know of partners that I work with that are using DS3 and Bonsai, but feel free to use whichever one is your favorite. Next slide, please. So what are your options for MyInsights reports? You can use the standard out-of-the-box Veeva reports. These are available from CRM Help Online, or you can get them directly from product support or your other Veeva support systems. You could create your own. If you have an in-house back-end development team, then this is probably the most cost-effective option for bespoke reports. If you don't have access to your own development team, then there are a couple of other options for bespoke reports. Veeva Technical Services can modify the out-of-the-box reports so that they meet your needs, or they can help you to create your own report with the data that you really want to see. Otherwise, your other option for more bespoke reports or for something a bit more productized is to use a Veeva partner. You might have come across Veeva partners before, perhaps when you've been creating multi-channel content. And these are companies that are fully supported by Veeva. And I've got a few examples that I would like to show you of the type of report that's being created by our partners. Next slide, please. This report is designed to be accessed through the account entry point. So Red Rock Creative have made this one directly for Veeva, and it's in the same design style as one of our collar cap CLM presentations. So it's a really basic report that just shows slide usage for the presentation that it matches. Next slide, please. This is a KOL profile report created by Farming Web Solutions, and it's been designed in a dashboard style. The premise behind this one is to have a standard dashboard for everyone, and then to add small widgets into this dashboard according to the user profile, the product, the territory, etc., etc. Next slide, please. This report, created by USACD, is an upgrade to the standard Veeva order management report. The content is very similar to the standard report, but the design has been changed in order to make the data a little bit clearer and to bring the report in line with some kind of corporate branding. Next slide, please. So if you choose to work with a partner on your reports, then it's important that you should choose a MyInsights certified partner. These companies are existing partners with an additional MyInsights certification, What this means is that they have been tested on their ability to create a MyInsights report within Veeva CRM, and they are also required to update their certification every year. So choosing a certified partner means you'll be able to make use of all the new features when they're released. We already have a lot of MyInsights certified partners, the ones you can see on the screen right now. But if you have a specific company or agency you want to work with, maybe because you already work with them, you've worked with them before, then they just need to contact the program that they want to join. So technology, content, services, and let us know that they're interested in joining the MyInsights certification. Okay, I hope this has been helpful and given you a better idea of where to start, but please feel free to contact your usual Veeva support system to get more information about this. Thanks, everybody. Albert, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I think that so we have plenty of time to take some questions from the audience. We are getting some in the chat, so we have also one question coming in the Q&A. So let's start with the ones coming directly from the chat. We're getting questions about if we are gonna to support our customers by giving them access to technical infrastructure that we and our partners use. So I think that's more for you, Sally. So can you take that one?
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so customers have access to the technical support that they've always had access to. So it's less of support, more documentation. So the CRM help online, the developer site, the new developer site. So from a technical point of view, that's really helpful for getting the information on the methods to query the database. From a coding point of view, the report is going to have to be supported by the developer who created it. So if that is Veeva, then we will support it. If it's an agency, then they will.
Okay. We have another one about Veeva technical services. So do we mean professional services, right? So it's our services team who's taking care of the changes, right? So that can take the responsibility to do some work in MyInsights, right, Sally?
Yes, professional services.
Okay. I'm checking now, so some other questions coming in the Q&A. When you say you can include any content, so can we include third-party sales data uploaded to Veeva, which is using some of the fixed MyInsights reports? I have been told this is currently not supported from custom HTML reports. So.
Oh yeah, but I'll cut that one. So
yeah.
that's right. So the way that MyInsights works at the moment, and this is something which we continue to develop, and we're going to see further enhancements in 17R2 fairly shortly. That's due to come through. But at the moment, the MyInsights is accessing the offline database and it's accessing the CRM tables. So if you're familiar with the CRM data model, MyInsights is in effect a secondary set of tables that are used to hold sales data. It is certainly on our plans to bring that data, to bring those tables, into the fold, but we haven't specifically sort of set out when that's going to happen. But certainly, something that we are very aware of and something we want to bring into the product. And then I see there's another question from Manoj around MyInsights and from a licensing point of view. So MyInsights is separately licensed. So if you had a MyInsights license, you can use it. It just transfers over. If you haven't got either a MyInsights or a MyInsights license, then you would need to speak to your Veeva account executive to look at that. Manoj asked a secondary question around the use of MyInsights in Veeva Online. At the moment, what you saw from Donald, though, all of those reports are in the offline application. We do have one area where we currently have a MyInsights report available in online, and that is looking at the key opinion lead or stakeholder data that you saw in the medical application. So that is available in Veeva, online, CRM Online. But really,
All right.
and across both, all of the platforms, there is a significant amount of development work, going in release on release to further enhance MyInsights. The response we've had from the first group of customers has been extremely positive, and as always, they've come back with a long list of things I'd like to be able to do. So we're certainly going to be busy in product and engineering, developing and further enhancing the MyInsights solution.
Good then. I don't know if there are more questions, so please feel free to share your questions in the Q&A button. Right, so you can pose your question in there, right? So we can give them an answer. I don't think there are that many. Right,
So Albert, just one thing from me. I said a question for Sally based on the experience she's had working with some of the partners. Sally, can you just sort of talk the group through what's been involved around the kind of development timelines? How long has it taken the Red Rocks and USACDs and others to be able to sort of come up with these initial views?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think it's probably important to say that these guys were some of the first guys to create these demo reports. So it's possibly taken longer there than it would now, because there was no certification when they started. There was very little documentation. We didn't have any examples to show them, so they really were working blind. Some of them have taken longer than others. I would say that a timescale of a couple of months was probably good for most of the MyInsights reports that we've done, and then it was mostly just bug fixing if we went on over that. One of the guys did actually get it done within a couple of weeks, so that is a possibility, but it really does depend on how much you're trying to fit into the content of the report. So if you've got a single page like our interaction summary, then that one's going to be a lot shorter to develop than something like the order management one that was created by USACD, because that one has 5 different tabs, 5 different types of reports. It's a lot more involved. So that one would take a lot longer. But yes, it really is how long is a piece of string and how much information are you going to squash into a single report.
Thanks very much, Sally.
So we're getting another one. Is it the plan to make MyInsights available to business users over time so that they can create their own reports? Who can take this one?
He's asked a safe harbor question.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting question, because I suppose in terms of the base structure for MyInsights, it's about it's HTML5 coding. So on the face of it, you'd say that's probably not going to be particularly business user friendly in terms of self-build. But saying that, we're seeing partners who are already looking at developing, in effect, their own CRM object framework that uses the MyInsights architecture and provides a way of being able to accelerate development. We did a webinar with one of our partners, CClear, one of our service partners, CClear, last week, and they have done precisely that. So effectively, as a partner, they're making an investment to build an enablement framework for their customers. So they'll be able to effectively build reports a lot faster than you would if you were starting with a blank page and raw code. So that, in theory, if you sort of take that forward, you could well have a page where effectively you have almost like a functionality on that page that lets you drop in particular objects. it's probably unlikely to happen that way, because I expect it's probably not something which really is ideally suited for for a business user to use it like that. But in theory, yes, it could be coded in that way.
I think we got another one, so which is already answered, right? So about, so the availability of MyInsights online, right? I think that, so that's the one already answered, right, Chris?
That's right.
Good then. I'm not seeing more questions. I think we're all good. All right then. So if there are no more questions, right? So probably, so we can close the session. So Donald, please, so can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So before we finish the session, right, I would like to remind you about the next webinars. So the next one is planned for July the 4th, and it's about multi-channel cycle plans. And then on September the 12th, so we're going to share how to do account-based selling in Veeva. So yeah, so feel free, so to visit our website and register yourself, so to those very interesting sessions. So yeah, and with that, so we'd like to thank you all for your time. So we wish you a lot of success with MyInsights. So thanks a lot. Bye bye.